Hello, welcome back, and welcome to video number 5. Sounds like I work at the post office, but there we go. Right, you are. So you should have your first dashboard sort of similar to that. Everyone's got their own design ideas and so on, but that's where we got to at the end of video 4. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a further dashboard and have a little run through and a few design tips, how to make the boards look consistent and so on. So we'll start by creating a new page. And we'll get into the habit of renaming these. This one's going to be SCQF breakdown. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by creating one card. And our idea behind this is we're going to end up with about 7 cards, but we're going to make sure the first one is designed absolutely spot on, copy it across, and your dashboard will start looking really consistent. So your card, just to be a refresher, is 5 along, 4 down. And the field that we're going to add into that to start with is SCQF level. Now, we don't want to add up the SCQF levels. In this case, we want to count them. So we're going to change sum within the build to count, not count distinct. Remember, that's a slightly different one, but just count. And in this case, we're going to be very, very specific about the design. So remember, keep that one highlighted. And we're going to go from build across to format. And we're going to go through general to start with. Again, a refresher, your formats are split into 2. So you've got general, which is your background, your effects, and your sort of canvas of the visual. And then the visual format, that's the visual specific ones. Okay, so within general, on properties, we've not used this one yet. And we're going to be very, very specific about the size. We can make it pixel perfect. And on this one, we're going to change it from 280 by 280 to 180 by 180. Okay, close up properties. Remember, this is a nice wee tip. Always close them back up as you're working down. Otherwise, your chevrons will go halfway to Australia. We'll add a title. And in this one, we're going to call it SCQF level 3. Bear with me on that one. I know it's got all the SCQFs in there at the moment, but we're going to change that. So pick a style and so on for your title. I'm actually going to make my title slightly smaller than I did before. I'm going to make them 16 height. I'm going to keep though with the design that I chose before. So my same text color and background, you choose whatever you like. Our specific data education color is the blue, like that, or teal, I suppose, if we're being accurate. Close up title. And remember, within effects, always add on border and shadow, particularly with what we're about to do. It's going to really make them stand out. That'll do me for general. And within the visual options, I'm going to take off the category label. If you remember back from when we did cards before, it's a personal thing, but I don't like category label. I think the title's perfectly acceptable because you want it really to stand out like that. And we're going to tuck it right into the corner. Remember, we've got SCQF levels running from 3 up to 9, so there's 7 of them altogether. So I'm going to start with copy this. So to do so, tuck it right in the corner, as I say, we need all of that space at the top. Right click on your visual, go down to copy visual. Now there isn't a mouse paste, so just Control V 6 times. And spread them out. Don't worry about getting them too nicely ordered at the moment, because it's a nice little trick within Power BI that will make it absolutely pixel perfect, but just line them all up along the top. Okay. Now, before we start doing the filtering, because obviously we don't want 7 copies of SCQF 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to align them all so they're absolutely spot on along the top. And the trick to this is decide where your left-hand one, in this case right in the corner, and your right-hand one, in this case right in the corner, is going to go, and then select them all. So click the first one, hold Control, and select all the others. That way you've got them all selected together. Now what we're going to do is, we've got to format, we're looking for align, And there's loads of options here. In this case, I want to distribute them horizontally, so they're all nicely spaced out. Click that. Absolutely pixel perfect. Looks great. So what we're going to do is we're going to change them all from being SCQF level 3, and we're going to make 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, etc. So this is where we're going to start playing with the filters. So our first one, even though it says SCQF level 3, actually has all of them on it. So if you haven't got your filters pane open, open that one. And what we want to do is filters on this visual. Remember, we've got 3 different versions of filters. Filters on this visual. I want to drag SCQF level into there. We don't want the advanced filtering, just the basic. You have all those options. And in this case, the first one, obviously SCQF level 3, just select that first one. On the next one, repeat the process. Drag SCQF level into filters on this visual. Change from advanced to basic. Select 4. We'll do the titles on in a minute. Next one, I'm sure you can see what's about to happen. Drag SCQF level into filters on this visual. Change advanced to basic. Select 5. On the next one, SCQF level into filters on this visual. Change advanced to basic. Select 6. Next one, change advanced to basic. Select 7. Next one, SCQF level. Select 8. And on the next one, select 9. All we now have to do, start at this one, is go in and update the title. So on that one, across to format. Remember the title's within general. So I'm just going to change 3 to 4. That one, clearly to be 5. That one to be 6. That one to be 7. That one to be 8. And that one to be 9. Nice and straightforward. Now what we've done is, because we were quite specific about the design within the first one and then just copied that across, they are all absolutely identical. And this is something I tend to do for making your dashboards nice and clear. Now, obviously, this is a count of SCQF levels across, but rather than having a repetition of all the titles, we can just do that with a text box underneath. So we want to insert a text box. So we're going to go insert. We're going to choose text box. And I'm going to pull it right out. Nice and wee. Push it up there. And we'll call it breakdown of SCQF levels. I'm just going to increase my font a bit. Yeah, might make it even bigger because I'm going to write across, up to you. And I'm going to, pardon. Look it right up there. Put it into the corner. Also on this one, on my effects, just to keep it consistent, I'll put my background and shadow on. You can change the background colour and so on. But do you see the way I've done it there? Rather than having breakdown of SCQF level 3, breakdown of SCQF level 4 and 5 and so on, by dragging the title out and having it as a text box underneath, it means your cards themselves are really nice and clear. That's up to you. I think it works quite well. Okay, so what we've not done, but I don't think we've used slices as yet, so we're going to do that. This is a breakdown of the SCQF levels across all the colleges, but it'd be nice to see a breakdown for each college. So make sure you haven't got any of these selected at the moment. Right? Just click on the canvas backgrounds. and I'm going to choose slicer. Now slicer's there, so it's 2 along and 5 down. And the field that I want on a slicer in this case is college. So I'm just going to go there. Now the default for a slicer, I'll just open up so you can see it. These little tick boxes, entirely subjective and entirely up to you, but I quite like the tiles. I just think it's more user friendly. So while your slicer is selected, I'm going to go up to Format, Slicer Settings, and as it says, Vertical List. I'm going to have tile. Now you'll notice there's also an option there. I'll just show you this drop down. If you've got a lot of different options within your slicer, sometimes drop down is better because otherwise the tile takes over the page. But in this case, it's only half a dozen. So I'm going to go with tile. I'm going to tuck it away into the corner there. Oh, beg pardon. There we go. That's a bit better. Now, again, with the slicers, the default is it gives you this little slicer header here. But for consistency, I prefer to remove that and put a title in so it matches the rest of your dashboard. So I'm just going to do that while we're on it. So I'm going to go into General. I'm going to put a title on. I'm just going to call it College Filter. Always remember about this. You know your data set inside out, but the person you're doing it for doesn't necessarily. So by calling it like College Filter, it kind of makes it easy for the person you're making that for. Now, top of my head, I made them 16 and text color white, background there, center, so it matches the rest. And I now don't need this slicer header. So I'm going to close that down. Actually, while I'm in General, I'll go to Effects, put my border, shadow on. But the slicer header, this one here, that's within Visual, because remember that's a Visual specific option. So I'll take that off. So now we've got a breakdown of SCQF levels across the entire data set. But if I just want to see what Dundee and Angus have done, they all reconstitute to show you that. Just click it again to take it off. The other thing you can do with these slices as well, you can compare one against another, or you can add the two together or whatever. So in this case, because they're all cars, they'll be added. So if I select Edinburgh College, hold Control and 5, that then shows me the breakdown of SCQF levels between the two colleges. Quite a useful little tip. Click that off. Okay, click off here. We're going to create another wee chart. I'm going to tuck this a little bit more into the corner, give it a bit more space. And on this one, I'm going to have a clustered column chart, remember, which is the default one if I choose numbers first, but I'm going to force it. So we'll have that one there. And on that clustered column chart, on the x-axis, I'm going to have SCQF level. It's going into y-axis, so I'm just going to pull it up there. On the y-axis, I'm going to have count of SCQF level, so I'm going to pull that across. Remember, the default goes in as sum, but these are all counts. So I'm going to change that to count. Again, not a count distinct. There we go. And what we got there. I think we might even, if you want. And this originally, you've got the option there in the legend. Break it down by college as well if you want. So there we go. We'll tidy this one up a little bit. So I'm going to have title, start with that. Call it SCQF level by college. I'll make my title consistent. You know how to do this now. I'll make it there. I will background center. While we're in General, I'll do my effects, border, shadow. We'll do a little bit of tidy up. Now, to my mind, we've already got SCQF level by college, so we probably don't need to have SCQF level there or count of or anything there. So I'm going to take those both off. That's within Visual. So x-axis, I'm actually going to take the entire, no, just the title off there, power down, and on the y-axis, take it off altogether, including the title. I don't really like the legend like that either. I think it's a bit of a mess. So let's have a look at legends. And I'm going to stack it. In this case, the left. There we go. What? Update my colours, just because. So on columns, I'm just going to do a range of different shades. So on the border, let's go for, in this case, I'm just going to go down the pinks. Indian Angus, second pink, Edinburgh College, third pink, Fife, fourth pink, Perth, fifth pink, West Lothian. Yeah, there we go. Here, and I'm going to put one further card in. So I'll move this a little bit, just tidy up. There we go. And in here, a sort of summary card, I'm going to have the total number of students. So one more card. Make it fit. There we go. And on that one, we're going to have number of students. I'm going to do a similar design on this particular card, the number of students. So on format, general, call it total students. I'll go back to my consistency on the title. So I'm going to make mine 16, white, background, centered. Again, while I'm in there, I'll stick my border and shadow on. And as per, I don't really like the category enable. It's unnecessary. It's under there. I'll take that out and tidy up a little bit. There we go. Now, what we've got there is, this is the total data set. We've got total number of students, 160,000, I wish, but also broken down into SCQF levels and so on. But if I now just say Fife College, it shows me within Fife College the number of students per level, total number of students. Up here we've got the actual data in itself, the specific number of students. So in this case, I didn't actually bother putting my data labels on this chart for completeness. I suppose I could as well if you wanted. So on this one, I could put data labels on. Here we go. Bit messy, but when I go into the specific colleges, it's a little bit easier to see. That's completely subjective. It's up to yourself. Okay, so there we've got a complete summary breakdown of all the different SCQF levels by college with your little filter. Okay, we have a cup of tea. We'll come back in a minute. Many thanks.